Hey, welcome everyone. This is Tom Buford, and welcome to the Attorney Success Podcast, the show where we interview, get to know, and learn from some of the top attorneys in the United States. So I'm really excited today to introduce this week's guest, Brett Trembly from Trembly Law Firm in South Florida. Trembly Law Firm is an award-winning and industry-recognized law firm leading South Florida in business law, franchise law, employment law, trademark law, litigation, and general counsel. And I just found out that Trembly Law Firm hit the 2020 Inc. 5000 list. So congratulations, Brett, and welcome to the podcast.
Tom, thank you for saying that, and I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So how long have you been trying to get on the Inc. 5000?
We barely missed a year before, and I was really unhappy about that. But because they have revenue markers, and so last year was the first year I thought we could make it, and like I said, we barely missed, but we made it this year, so that's
awesome.
Pretty exciting.
That's a really good goal. That's awesome. Very good. Well, congratulations on that. So just getting back to kind of the very beginning for you, what made you decide to pursue a career in law?
I don't really have a great story. I know that I was intrigued by some of the TV shows early on when I was young, but it was not a dying passion of mine. I essentially didn't want to grow up, and I thought 3 more years of living the student lifestyle would be fun. And getting out of my New Mexico roots and going to a big city would be fun. So I went to University of Miami School of Law and joined the trial team and just loved it. And I always knew that I would be my own boss, my own employer. I just didn't know what that would be. And I thought a legal background would be great. So I went to work for a law firm, and then a few years later, I always knew I was going to do my own thing anyway. I'm almost 30, so let me make the jump now. That's how I ended up owning my own law firm.
Is that what, since you knew you wanted to do your own thing, is that what led you into specifically business law as one of your big practice areas, or did that fall in more organically?
It fell in organically and perfectly, really. So I liked the litigation. I wanted to be in the courtroom and argue, and that was fun. And then as I was running my own firm and I was doing litigation, I saw so many opportunities to help business owners stay out of court. And I was like, wow, these agreements are terrible. And why didn't somebody, mitigate the exposure? And why didn't someone else step in and convince somebody not to sue? I mean, the amount of people that sue when they shouldn't, and it's just going to be a waste of money is mind-boggling. What that means is you have attorneys looking out for themselves, trying to generate legal fees instead of doing right by their client. Right. And all those things got me back to my entrepreneurial roots and said, what would I want as a business owner? And why should my law firm help business owners avoid courtroom? Now, we still litigate heavily. We have a fantastic litigation team because there's some things that aren't avoidable. Right. And other people have bad attorneys that talk them into suing our clients. So it was very organic. And now we essentially do whatever an employer needs, from employment defense to, employment law on the transactional side, which we kind of handle through our general counsel program, and we do franchise law and business law. And if we can't keep you out of court or something happens, then we litigate.
All right. Very good. Yeah, that's cool. It's at least you're doing something you found a passion for and certainly found a need for. That's good. So I know when it comes to law, not just from your perspective where you're having to keep up with the law, but obviously for people, if it's a client, a business owner, or someone else is coming to you, it can be really overwhelming and certainly intimidating. So what do you find are some of the biggest misconceptions in the marketplace when it comes to hiring a lawyer or coming to see someone like you?
Oh man, those are all over the place. So you have some people that don't want to pay for your time. They want to call and they want to talk to an attorney. Mm-hmm. And well, what do you mean I have a consultation? Why can't I just talk to the attorney?
Right.
And my analogy is like, I don't know. Do you just go talk to the doctor and get a diagnosis and then decide to pay for treatment? No, you still have to pay to get a foot in the door. So that's kind of the extreme on one end. And I think the extreme on the other is people expect a horrible, and maybe rightfully so, but a horrible experience, just, dealing with very unhappy people and serious lawyers, and there's going to be no pleasant interactions, and the paralegals are going to treat you poorly. The staff's going to treat you poorly. The attorney is going to hopefully do a good job, but rarely talk to you. And we try to do the opposite of that at the firm and just completely create a customer experience that is going to leave somebody saying, look, spending legal fees is not my favorite thing, but if I'm going to have to do it, then I prefer it to be through a real client experience, a customer service experience, like any other business owner has to do to keep clients.
Right. How much of that is real life stuff that really happens? You know, people are just treated poorly at a level or, you know, consistency that shouldn't be there, or how much of that is from what we see in the media? Because a lot of this, depending on, you know, I talked to a couple defense attorneys, and a lot of what the misconception comes from is actually TV. We see stuff, we have this conception that or this perception, and that's what people are getting. They're not getting a real encounter with an attorney, and it's often pretty different. But in your case, what do you find?
I think a lot of it's media driven. You've got your 50% of business owners who have never worked with an attorney before,
Right.
and out of the other 50% that has, half of them have had really poor experiences, and the other half are probably okay. I think competition in the marketplace and the small firm movement is helping with a lot of these things. Lawyers, we can't just take our clients for granted anymore. We have to earn them and keep them, and so I think that's helped. But yeah, I mean, coming in, I think a lot of it is just lack of experience. They've never had to deal with an attorney before because they think, I don't want to work with an attorney until I have to.
Right.
We're trying to get people to proactively work with us as they grow so that they never get to a point where they're going to have to get into expensive litigation.
Yeah, makes sense. So tell me about one of your ideal cases or client, or is there an ideal case for you guys?
In the franchise areas, a business owner has 2 or 3 locations that wants to explore franchising. And I say explore because it's not for everybody. It's really expensive and complicated. And again, you've got people pushing franchise models that shouldn't be. Right. As far as ideal client is a business between 2 and 50 million in revenue that's growing, and they have a lot of new challenges that they never thought they would run into before, and they've got they're hiring employees and they're moving and they're shaking, and they really need to get their ducks in a row. That's a fun client for us to work with. All
right. What are some big things that you really focus on with these guys? So you've got someone in that $2 to $50 million, $2 to $50 million. And then what are some of the key issues that come up where they just really need to focus on and get help with, where they're probably not, maybe they're mid 6 figures, they're not seeing these same problems?
So there's 5 areas, and I'm not promoting anything, but we've got a book coming out called The Danger Zones, and it's legal problems broken into 5 areas that we work with our clients specifically. So it's your internal corporate infrastructure. A lot of people forget to get their operating agreements between the owners of the business, lined out. The external contracts, lease agreements, etc. So that's the second one. Employment issues. Do you have employment agreements? Do you have the HR in place? Do you have non-compete agreements? Are they done the right way? Are they going to be enforceable? Again, this is high level stuff. The fourth area is trademarks. A lot of small business owners get kind of bullied or pushed out by other people that come in and then grab the same name or trademark something that a business owner just forgot to do. And trademarking is actually very straightforward and easy. And the last one is compliance. There's new compliance issues like the ADA, the TCPA. Businesses are getting sued for sending text messages now. Right. So those are the 5 areas that we focus on.
All right. And that's Danger Zone? Is the name of the book? Yeah. Promote away. That's great. Yeah. That's totally cool.
Well, it's out to print, so I don't even have a link, but we do have the quiz on our website. It's called tremblylaw.com/danger zones. And that allows business owners to take a very short, probably 5-minute quiz to see if they're exposed or not.
That's a great idea, man. I love it. Hey, make sure when that's out, if you remember, hit me up with a link and I'll make sure to add it to the notes. So that's great. Really good resource. Cool. Do you have one single case that just jumps out as being one of the most memorable cases? Whether it was the outcome or just the person you're working with, what?
Yeah, this is totally different than what we do now. And it's an elderly exploitation case. One of the first cases I ever had as a solo attorney. A nurse and her family cozied up to an old guy, and then on his deathbed convinced him to sign a will in their favor. So they sent their son, and the will was done, hid it from the son, who didn't have a lot of money in the first place. And we found a smoking gun, almost like straight out of a movie, which never happens, but we got the real one on the eve of trial. And it was a 2-week trial and we won. And it was one of the most rewarding things I've ever done in the law.
I imagine that is something too you hear in movies. That's not something you'd see very often. I would hope not, but yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So reality is stranger than fiction sometimes. That's cool.
Absolutely. I think that's where most fiction comes from, right?
Yeah,
is all the,
that's right.
Yeah,
it's inspired from someone. I mean, you hear things sometimes in real life and think, man, that'd make a great movie. But people wouldn't even believe it. I mean, it's sometimes so crazy, but
maybe in 2020 they would.
Yeah, no kidding. Believe anything now.
Yeah.
So what challenges do you find when you're attracting new cases in the marketplace? I know you're in a really competitive place down in Florida, and do you work specifically with people only in Florida, or can you work, let's say you're working on trademark, can you work with someone in Georgia or some other state?
Yeah, we have general counsel clients in different states. Anything that gets too state specific, then we bring in co-counsel.
Okay.
But there's a lot of federal, employment law issues that we help with, and trademark is federal, like you mentioned. I don't know what our challenge would be. I mean, we're growing like wildfire.
Clearly, yeah.
As that's just not me saying that, right? We've gone from 1 attorney to 10 in 8 years. And really the first 2 were not anything,
right.
It was just me just trying to keep the doors open. So I don't think we face many challenges. I would say if anything, it is a saturated market. So people that probably wish they had found us just don't and have a bad experience. But in terms of our growth and how we handle that growth, we've got just about the right amount of cases coming in.
That's great. What are you guys doing proactively that's working to get the word out so someone does find you guys when they need to?
So that's a mixed bag. So our attorneys network, and we've got referral sources. We do, we have our blog. We keep people updated on social media like crazy. We've got some new marketing initiatives that are coming out soon. Yep. Much like you doing this, I have a series where I interview successful business owners, not lawyers, online that we put out. Of course, your traditional digital marketing, everybody's on Google Maps these days, and hope that people find you. So it's a mixed bag.
Yeah, cool. And I mean, having the new book coming out when that gets going, that's a great idea too. And having the form that people can fill out, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Cool. What's one piece of advice you wish you were given when you got started in law?
You can't do everything yourself. So lawyers are traditionally high achievers, right? We got into law school and we passed the bar, and we kind of, think highly of ourselves.
Right.
Sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a bad way.
Right.
And when I was first running my firm, I tried to do everything myself because I didn't have any money to start with. So it was I was just running a lean operation and eating what I could kill. And then I thought, well, if I just continue to do everything myself, eventually I'll have enough money, let's say 40 grand in my operating account, then I can hire someone. I didn't just think of free up some time, double the amount of time you bill, and you double your revenue. I got that. For some reason that didn't hit me. I kept thinking, well, if I hire someone and then I can't pay them, I'm going to be embarrassed. It's like the world doesn't revolve around you. People aren't sitting around thinking about you. I had to look myself in the mirror and figure that out someday. And I would get help from day one. I would not open my own business without a plan for having someone else do the heavy lifting on the work, freeing me to bring in business. And that goes for lawyers too. Right.
Yeah. Any business owner, right? If you identify as, let's say you're the CEO, if you're a business owner, or the owner, you're a CEO essentially. But we don't, if we're a small business owner, we tend not to treat ourselves or look at ourselves as a CEO. We look at ourselves as an entrepreneur or business owner, which basically means we're wearing too many hats.
Yeah.
But that's great. Yeah. And I'm going to go over to your site real quick too, because on your About Us page, you're talking about some of the things that you guys are doing on a daily basis for group meetings. And where was it specifically you guys were talking about working on your your vision, doing your daily stand-ups, things like that. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that helps? I don't think we see enough of that in businesses in general, and the value of knowing your core values and making sure that people that are hired into your company, whether it's a law firm or anything, align with those core values, and then you communicate it and talk about it every day. So I thought that was a really good piece there on your site.
Sure. Thank you. So Apple, I believe they still do this every morning before they open the doors. All the employees stand around and they clap and they kind of get excited for the day.
Right.
And if you think it's silly, there's a reason that, you're not Steve Jobs, right?
Right.
It gets the energy up. It changes people's focus and their mood, and why it reminds them why they're there. And then you attract people who like that kind of thing. And so when customers come in, they're dealing with somebody who's happy, who's energetic, who's fun. It's a total cultural game changer, just something so simple. In our morning huddles, we all report what we did the day before.
Mm-hmm.
We don't clap and shout or by any means, but it creates alignment and it gets people locked in, and it helps everyone know what the other person's doing. So one hand is speaking to the other. It's only 7-10 minutes every morning, but they're very powerful for reminding us of our core values, sharing positive stories and successes and wins. And that's just part of what we do that I think makes us much different than other law firms.
Yeah, that's great. I think it takes, on an individual level, we think of, there's different books. Robin Sharma has one on his morning rituals, but there's the concept is get up in the morning and start your day early with a plan rather than letting the day plan you and move you along. And then you're constantly reacting, same kind of thing, but at a business level, where you're doing that as a business, you're focused, what your intent is. And then also probably a great place to get feedback from people and support. If someone is having trouble, or, there's a challenge coming up, you can get that. You really have a team that's working on it rather than just separate individuals that do their thing on different parts of the building. And then there's never really that team effort. I mean, there's so much value in that, in having energy from others. And I agree, standing up, for me, when I'm doing interviews, I have to sit down because I talk really fast. But for some people, if they have lower energy, they have to stand up. Or if you're nervous, stand up. I mean, it really makes a big difference. And definitely clapping and doing these things gets the blood going. It might sound weird, but it's really not. I mean, it makes sense. So,
yeah, it's just human science, right? It's
right.
It's not weird at all. But people get stuck in there, go to work, get my coffee, sit at my desk, and then let the day attack me, like you said, and I'm reacting all day instead of owning my day and working what I need to work on.
That's right. Yeah, even if it doesn't go exactly the way you want, you had a plan and you know where it went, left or right. Yeah, so course correct later. So what advice would you give to somebody who's unsure if they have a case and they should proceed by hiring a lawyer? And I would think, especially in the business side of things, that's your main focus. So you're a business owner, you're not sure you've got a case. What do they need to have in their mind when they approach you guys?
So the way we look at it is you have to analyze the matter on 3 different kind of paradigms: time, money, and reputation. If you're going to sue somebody, is it worth the money that you're going to spend on it? And not just out of anger, because a lot of people say, I'd rather pay you than pay them if you're sued. It's like, well, you say that now, but I promise you that's not how you're going to feel 6 months from now.
Right.
How much time and energy, people never think about this. If you're going to sue somebody, just because you have a contract, hopefully you have a good contract and now you have leverage, but it doesn't mean you have to sue that person. But like a former employee, right, for a breach of a non-compete agreement. Am I going to spend so much time and energy that I'm going to take away from my business? Because the answer is you will take away from your business. So how much is that going to cost you? And the other is reputation. I mean, are you going to be moody? Is your family going to, feel it? Are people going to say, why is he doing this? I mean, like that, those are all the factors that go into analyzing what you should do when you have a dispute. Disputes are going to happen. That doesn't mean you have to run to court and get yourself into expensive and exhausting litigation.
Sure. So I don't know if you can say this as a percentage, but is there a ballpark that if somebody comes to you and you can forego going to court, is there a percentage that, hey, if they hadn't come to me and we hadn't been able to do something ahead of time, this percentage of people would have wound up in court at some point? and we were able to avoid that?
I don't know. I don't think I can answer that question directly, but here's the one I can answer. Proactive legal work, doing your agreements that way.
Yeah.
You know, hiring us to spend 5 or 10,000, getting all your legal ducks in a row.
Yeah.
No, like people think, well, I'll just deal with it later. I don't want to deal with that.
Right.
It's always 90% more expensive to litigate. You're going to spend a few $100,000 or 50 or 100 just to get to the point where you may get to have a trial, and then you're going to settle, and it's so much more expensive. So I look at it like reactive legal measures are 90% more expensive than proactive.
Right. That's with, I mean, you can't even, it's just every area of our life, right? We're in a very reactive world. We'd rather not stay in shape, so we go to a doctor and get pills. And, you know, and it's like that for everything. If people could get away from not having auto insurance, they would, until they got in an accident and then wish they had auto insurance.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, exactly. And look, it's not to put anybody down, because we all have areas of our life. You mentioned health where we do that.
Right.
We're just so busy and we're trying to grow or just make ends meet. I know it happens, but we're trying to get through to business owners. It doesn't need to take that much of your time to deal with us. Let us put you in a really good, solid legal foundation so you can sleep well at night.
Yeah, that's great. Very good. Well, cool. So that wraps it up. Can you tell us, well, first off, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. And good luck with the book when it comes out. Definitely want to get a link, and then I'll share that link as well. What's the best way for someone to get in touch with you if they have any questions or any concerns they need taken care of?
Absolutely. So Tom, for anyone that's listening to this, we have a VIP referral page. It's tremblylaw.com/VIP. And that's the fastest way to get in touch with us. Somebody fills out a very short amount of information, and somebody from our team will reach out to you that same day, and probably within 5 minutes, sometimes not. But, you know, tremblylaw.com is the website. The number is 305-431-5678. But again, I think it's easiest just to go to the website, fill out the form, and then we're off and running, and maybe we help you, or if not, we'll put you in touch with somebody that can.
Perfect, man. Great. All right. Well, I appreciate your time, and have a great time on the rest of your vacation. And we'll try to navigate this craziness with the parenting, the homeschooling, and all that stuff. So good luck.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Tom. That was fun.
Yeah, Brett, same here, man. Thanks a lot.